Welcome to Profit Channels. This is my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor and I don't give financial advice. Please consider this video entertainment. Today I am going to talk about Campbell's Company, the Campbell's Company. It is CPB on the NASDAQ. It's right at $34, 4.5%, almost 4.6% dividend yield. A lot of closely held shares. 16.3 price to earnings ratio, which is not bad. We see steady net income annually, quarterly as well. It's meals and beverages and snacks. I mean, everyone knows Campbell's. We've got, so quarterly, you can see our debt is going down, and we have some cash flow annually. Debt jumped up in 24, but down in 25 so far. And we've got cash flow. Liabilities are a little bigger than I would like to see. So that's the debt. If I go to the fundamentals, and let's look at this annually. This is the most revenue we've had in 2025. If I jump down to operating income, pretty good, 1.15. I mean, not our best by a long shot. Net income, $602 million. So it's right in there. I mean, a little low recently, but prior to 2020, it was a lot lower. And then here, average basic shares outstanding. So we were at 303 million, and now we've gone down to 298 million. So they are buying back shares, which is a good sign. The forecast is interesting. We've got 23 analysts, and most of them are saying hold. We've got about the same amount of strong buys and strong buys, sells and strong sells. So they're saying anywhere from $29 to $41, and we're at 34. So I'd say our upside reward is bigger than the downside risk, but not by a lot. But with this steady income, I don't really understand it. So here's a monthly chart of Campbell's divided by the S&P 500. And you can see this beautiful line, this channel. We're right at the bottom of it. We've never been this lopsided compared to the S&P 500. And then the midpoint line is real pretty. So I think that this looks like a good place to enter. And that is a bullish monthly candle. So, I think there's a lot of upside here. So if I look at our moving averages, so this is monthly, and we can see the price really jumped up in the 80s, really jumped up. And we've been bouncing off the 50 and then broke down and resisted off the 100 down to the 200. We've been kind of chopping through them up and down. But this is the lowest right here. It doesn't seem that low compared to other charts, but this is the lowest we've been below the 200 period moving average for all intents and purposes most of our lives. So this is a pretty historic low. They are all pointing down a little bit, except the 200 is flat. So we are, again, it's unusual to be this far below the 200 moving average. And the 50 and the 100 are basically the same line right now. Okay, here on the weekly, you can see our volume has really picked up in this area, which I like to see that. Again, we are pretty far below the 200 period. Not quite as far as right here, but pretty close. If I do it this way, yeah, pretty far under there. Let me go back to the monthly and point out this is a very bullish candle. Weekly, a very bullish candle. There's no tail on the top. Daily, again, a very bullish candle. So we've fought with the 50, broke out, bounced off the 100, and are trying to go over it. I wouldn't be surprised to see it pull back a little next week, maybe early, or start running up to the 200. But I'm looking for an entry spot next week, I think. This is just too out of whack to ignore. All right, I'm going to go back to the monthly and get rid of our moving averages. And let's look at our channels. So we've got this monthly channel. You can see it started here as resistance and then has been support. We're at that support. The midpoint line works out pretty nicely. I do like this. We are at our point of control long term. If I go to a weekly, we have a channel, something like this. It works pretty good. And so we're at the lower end of this channel, but the bottom of the long-term one. So we could come down here a little lower. That is possible. If I go to the daily, here we go. You know, this is a leap of faith. Is this a channel? Are we going to try to come up here? We'll see. There's not a lot of data here. Let's look at our retracement. So I'm going to go to the weekly. So I'm going from the bottom to the top. So bottom here, top here. And we are right at the 1618 on the weekly. This 382 is very interesting throughout time. If we look at this on the daily, we fought with this 272. The one here was an important level. This looks really pretty on a daily chart. That's 618. We could also do a fib retracement from this bottom to this top, and we are now at the full 2. We broke it through it, retested it, and it looks like we're trying to head up. I mean, these are some pretty nice lines. How these work out. Here's the one. So, I mean, we could go on a run but let's look at the extensions. Okay, back to the weekly. We'll do an extension from the bottom here to the top here and assume that this is the bottom. And I'm going to go to the daily chart. Let's get rid of this channel. So, 382 was resistance, now it's support. Same thing, or I'm sorry, the 236, but same thing with the 382. So now the 0.5 is the next area we could have resistance, and then you see 618, 786. Like, this is a real pretty extension. And if we go back in time, I mean, this is a real pretty looking. So I really like this as far as places of resistance that hopefully will become support. I do a shorter term, from the bottom to the top to the bottom again. We just are banging between the 618 and the 786. These lines are all looking pretty. If I go all the way to the top, whoopsie. And I did not notice this. We have this giant gap way up here. So we're at 34. That's 62. That's almost a double. But if we look at this weekly, let's add some more. Let's see where 4 is. Ooh. Okay. That makes it a little more interesting. So I like the Fibonacci's based on this being the bottom. So here is the parabolic SAR in the super trend, and they're both negative in the monthly. Hopefully, we're going to see this RSI turning up. It's been pretty, again, monthly, this is pretty historically low. Let me come back here to the monthly. And so if we look at this on a monthly, I forgot about this. We have a giant head and shoulders, and we broke this neckline, right? Or I don't know how we want to draw this neckline. And that would be the distance that we would move. So not quite the full move. We could get there. That would be around 28, which is some of the worst projections. But right now, everything's feeling pretty bullish. Let's go to the weekly. Everything's starting to trend up. We're not quite in overbought territory yet, but we haven't crossed our midpoint lines on either the RSI or the MACD, but they're both turning up. The MACD's crossed over. On weekly, everything is in positive territory and looking good. We are in overbought on the stochastic. If I look at our RSI Bollinger band strategy, we're pretty low in our band. Money flow index, you could say this is slightly upward. Squeeze momentum is bull or bearish, and not much of a trend. On the weekly, we have broken out below the Bollinger Band and are now coming up into it. This looks bullish. Money flow is coming up. Squeeze momentum is less bearish. And ADX is, the trend is weakening. So hopefully our downward trend is weakening, and soon upward trend is going to start. And then on the day, we've hit the bottom of our Bollinger Band, and we are climbing towards our moving average. Money flow index in the short term is slightly up. We just got a little bit of green and squeeze momentum, and no trend here. So